The void was a canvas of absolute black, pierced only by the faint glitter of distant stars. From orbit around Earth, the planet's fleets and stations appeared minuscule, tiny specks of civilization clinging to gravity's embrace. Commander Jason Mercer stood on the bridge of the orbital command station, his hands gripping the rail as though it could anchor him against the waves of tension washing over the crew. His eyes were fixed on the monitor, where a small blip drifted silently through space. It was the prototype warship. The culmination of decades of human ingenuity, forged in secret, designed to terrify a galaxy that had long dismissed Earth as a backwater, inconsequential planet. The Council fleets, hundreds of ships strong, built to enforce order, to command obedience, scoffed at it. They didn't see a weapon. They saw a relic. A curiosity. A laughingstock. Lieutenant Ava Harper, young, keen, and impossibly composed, hovered over her console. Her fingers hovered over the interface as if even touching it too soon might disrupt the delicate balance. "Commander," she said, her voice steady but tinged with unease, "all systems report green. The prototype's energy signature is stable, but the Council fleets are closing fast. 3 sectors out. They'll see it soon." Mercer didn't respond immediately. His eyes never left the screen. The prototype, nicknamed Prometheus during its secret development, was more than a warship. It was a message, encoded in steel, plasma, and strategic genius. For centuries, humanity had been mocked, undermined, and hunted by the Council. Diplomatic missions humiliated, colonies burned, technology scoffed at. And now, centuries of patient preparation, of ingenuity hidden in plain sight, were about to manifest. "Open the communication channels," Mercer said finally, his voice calm, almost casual. "Let them speak. Let them mock. Let them enjoy their arrogance while it lasts." Harper hesitated, her eyes flicking to the glowing monitors. "Sir, are you sure? There's a chance they won't listen, they may attack before we can even respond." Jason Mercer turned toward her, his face etched with the kind of intensity only someone who had carried the weight of history could bear. "They'll speak. Every fleet commander believes themselves superior. That is their weakness. Let them underestimate us." A holographic channel flickered to life. Towering before them appeared Admiral Thalen of the Korath Dominion. The Korath were humanoid but imposingly tall, lithe, their skin a shimmering green with patterns that hinted at status and lineage. Thalen's eyes, luminescent and sharp, glittered with condescension. "So, the humans finally dare to present their prototype," he said, voice reverberating in the bridge's speakers. "Tell me, Commander Mercer, what do you think this little scrap can do against our fleets? Surrender now, and perhaps we'll be merciful." Mercer's jaw tightened. "You call it little," he said softly, almost to himself. Then louder, into the channel, "You are seeing more than you realize, Admiral. This is not just a ship. This is Earth's voice. And you've been deaf to it for far too long." Thalen's grin widened, a display of arrogance that Mercer had seen countless times across the galaxy. "Earth's voice? A whisper at best. One ship cannot challenge the fleets of the Council. One ship cannot undo centuries of human irrelevance." Mercer turned back to the console, his hands poised over the control panel, though he didn't touch it yet. The prototype was dormant now, inert, unassuming, its sleek black hull unremarkable except for the faint shimmer of adaptive camouflage technology along its edges. To the untrained eye, it was a modest craft, incapable of threatening even the smallest Council destroyer. But Mercer knew differently. Every weapon, every module, every bit of AI code had been designed to exploit weaknesses the galaxy didn't even know existed. The Council fleets, confident in their numbers and experience, would find that their arrogance was their undoing. Lieutenant Harper's voice broke the tense silence. "Sir, sensors are picking up energy fluctuations from the prototype. It's activating." Mercer's eyes flickered with a hard light. "Good. Let it awaken. Let it show them what mockery costs." In the vacuum of space, Prometheus engines ignited, not with a roar, but with a pulse of light so intense it bent the surrounding darkness. The ship's adaptive surface shimmered, energy flowing across its hull in patterns that resembled living veins of plasma. It wasn't just movement. It was intention. A statement. A predator awakening. The Council fleet, hundreds of vessels spanning the horizon like a metallic ocean, paused in confusion. Their sensors couldn't account for the anomalies, the way the prototype moved against the void. And in that pause, in the briefest instant of hesitation, the first strike hit. A single pulse of directed energy, invisible until it struck the lead cruiser of the Korath Dominion, vaporized it from the inside out. The Council fleet reeled, alarms blaring, sensors scrambling to recalibrate. The prototype didn't attack again immediately, it vanished, a ghost weaving between laser bursts and evasive maneuvers, as though mocking them in return. Mercer allowed himself a faint smile, a rare breach in his otherwise composed demeanor. They built fleets of arrogance, he said under his breath. And we brought a ghost. Harper's fingers flew over the interface, tracking the prototype's ghost-like movement, coordinating its AI with precision guidance. Sir, they're attempting to flank. Standard Council formation, crescent attack. If they succeed. You're assuming they will, Mercer interrupted, his voice firm. They will not. Not if we play the game right. He glanced at his crew, their faces pale but resolute. Every operator, every technician, every soldier aboard the station understood the stakes. This wasn't just a battle. This was history being rewritten in real time. And Mercer knew that if they faltered, Earth would once again be dismissed, mocked, and endangered. The first wave of Council ships adjusted their trajectory, a crescent of shining steel stretching through the black. And in that instant, Prometheus struck again, swift, precise, and unrelenting. Explosions blossomed across the enemy line, brilliant flares illuminating the void, each one a testament to human ingenuity. The Council had mocked a prototype. Now they would witness a weapon born of centuries of neglect and scorn, and they would learn that humanity's patience had limits. Sir, Harper whispered, almost reverently, they're retreating, or maybe trying to regroup. They've never seen anything like this. Jason Mercer's eyes remained locked on the holographic blip, the warship that carried humanity's fury and ingenuity. Let them stare, he said quietly. Let them see what happens when you mock a species you think is weak. They will remember this, and they will fear it. Not just for this battle, but for every generation to come. The silence of space returned, heavier now, weighted with the anticipation of the reckoning yet to come. The Council had laughed at Earth for centuries. And that laughter, Mercer knew, would soon turn to a memory scorched into the minds of every alien commander across the stars. The void had become a theater of fire and light. Humanity's prototype warship, Prometheus, moved through the darkness with a fluid, almost predatory grace. Its black hull shimmered under pulses of energy, warping light in a way that made it seem both real and impossible, a phantom in space. Around it, the Council fleet scrambled, 100 vessels once confident now scattered and vulnerable. Lieutenant Ava Harper leaned over her console, her eyes wide as she tracked enemy vectors. Sir, it's like nothing they've ever seen. Every maneuver, every counter, they can't predict it. Jason Mercer's gaze was unwavering. On the bridge, he stood like a calm monolith amidst chaos. Of course they can't, he said softly. They've never faced humans prepared this way. Every fleet they've built, every strategy they've perfected, it's meaningless here. We built this for one purpose, to make arrogance pay. Harper swallowed, her fingers flying across the interface. They're trying to regroup. They've formed a wedge formation, hoping to trap Prometheus in a crossfire. Mercer's eyes narrowed. Good. Let them think they can challenge us. That's when they'll break. Remember, the ship isn't just weapons. It's intelligence, precision, and patience incarnate. Let them underestimate it, they always do. In the cold silence of space, Prometheus struck again. It darted between enemy fire with impossible speed, engines pulsing like heartbeat. Its first salvo tore through the wedge, vaporizing the lead destroyer. Sparks and debris cascaded through the void, the explosion's radiance illuminating the faces of the bridge crew. Direct hit, Harper breathed, disbelief mingling with awe. They're falling apart, every single ship. Jason Mercer allowed himself a rare, grim smile. They built fleets of pride, he murmured. And we brought a ghost. One ghost. The Korith Dominion's Admiral Phelan's voice cut through the comms, trembling with incredulity. Impossible, what are you? What are you doing to us? Mercer's response was calm, almost ceremonious. You mocked Earth for centuries. You burned our colonies, dismissed our scientists, humiliated our diplomats. You believed us weak. That was your first mistake. This is your reckoning. From the bridge, Corporal Dylan Cross, reassigned to Prometheus Tactical Systems, leaned closer to the display. Sir, they're trying something new. Firing everything they have at once. Mercer studied the readouts. The Council fleet had coordinated a massive counterstrike, beams and missiles converging on Prometheus from every angle. It was the kind of assault that would overwhelm almost any ship in the galaxy. Almost. Harper's voice rose in tension. Sir, they're closing in fast. If we miscalculate, we could. Not a chance, Mercer interrupted, his voice sharp. He tapped a sequence into the control panel. Across Prometheus' hull, the energy pattern shifted, bending the ship's silhouette against the void. Energy shields flared in synchrony with its weapons systems, a radiant storm of defense and attack. The Council believes in brute force, he said quietly. We believe in precision. Let's show them the difference. Prometheus twisted in space, slipping between volleys of fire, while its automated targeting algorithms struck with surgical accuracy. The flagship of the Korith wedge erupted in a sphere of light, then disintegrated into fragments. One by one, cruisers and frigates followed, each destroyed before they could understand the threat. The fleet's confidence crumbled, replaced with terror. Harper's hands shook slightly over the console. Sir, the flagship, it's gone. Entire formation collapsing. They can't even mount a proper defense. Mercer nodded. Good. Panic is contagious. Once their command is broken, the rest will fall without question. Remember, Lieutenant, they weren't expecting this. They mocked a prototype. They didn't realize it was more than that. They didn't realize it was the culmination of humanity's ingenuity. The void seemed to hold its breath as Prometheus moved again, faster than the eye, or even sensors, could follow. Its hull absorbed energy from nearby stellar radiation, redirecting it in waves that disabled enemy weapons without destroying them outright. Ships floundered, shields overloading, engines failing. The Council's forces were caught in a nightmare they could not comprehend. Corporal Cross leaned closer, whispering to Harper. Sir, it's like the ship knows what they're thinking before they do. Almost, Mercer said, his tone measured. It anticipates. It calculates. And it executes. We trained it to exploit every flaw we observed in decades of intelligence reports. They've fought fleets before. They've never faced this. The bridge trembled as another Council destroyer exploded, sending shards of molten metal spinning into the void. The light reflected off Prometheus' hull, making it appear almost alive, a predatory beast in the darkness. Harper couldn't help but whisper, it's beautiful, and terrifying. Mercer's gaze remained cold, unwavering. It is justice made manifest. Every ship they built to assert dominance, every prideful vessel, reduced to nothing because they underestimated us. That is humanity's legacy now. They will remember it. The Council fleet, desperate, tried to flee, but Prometheus anticipated their retreat. It moved faster than any interceptor, striking from angles they could not predict. Each salvo, each burst of energy, carved through their formations. In minutes that felt like hours, the wedge formation dissolved entirely. Ships collided, shields failed, and explosions lit the void like fireworks of vengeance. Harper's voice trembled. Sir, the fleet, it's over. They're all destroyed. Jason Mercer allowed a deep breath, the tension on his shoulders easing just slightly. Not destroyed, he corrected, voice low. Judged. Let them live to remember that mockery has a cost. That arrogance can be fatal. This prototype, this ship, it was never about killing. It was about teaching the galaxy that humans cannot be dismissed. A moment of silence settled over the bridge. The stars outside seemed untouched, indifferent, but the crew knew the universe itself had shifted. A single warship, forged by humans, had rewritten the rules of engagement. It had shattered centuries of confidence in the Council fleets. Corporal Cross broke the silence, a wry grin spreading across his face. So, we did it. We actually did it. The Council, gone. All of them. Mercer's gaze remained on the void, his expression calm, almost detached. We did more than that. We sent a message. Every species that witnesses this will know, never underestimate Earth. Never mock humanity. And never forget what happens when we awaken. Harper exhaled slowly, almost in disbelief. Sir, what now? Mercer's voice was steady, resolute. Now, we prepare. The galaxy will recover, they will rebuild, but they will always remember today. This is only the beginning. Prometheus will sail, and Earth's legacy will follow. But more importantly, the galaxy will fear us. And that fear will ensure our respect. Outside the station, the debris of the Council fleet drifted through the void, a testament to a single planet's ingenuity and determination. The silence that followed was heavy, almost sacred, as if space itself recognized the enormity of what had just occurred. The prototype warship floated amidst the remnants of its victims, its hull shimmering faintly in the dim starlight. It was no longer just a ship. It was a legend, an omen, a symbol of humanity's indomitable will. And on the bridge of the orbital station, Jason Mercer, Ava Harper, and their crew understood something profound. The galaxy had just changed forever. The void was quiet now, though it was a quiet forged from destruction. The remnants of the Korath Dominion's fleet drifted like flotsam in the endless darkness, burned out husks of once proud warships. The stars beyond shimmered indifferently, unaware of the seismic shift that had just occurred. Prometheus floated among the wreckage, its hull blowing faintly as if savoring the silence, a phantom guardian in the aftermath of chaos. Commander Jason Mercer stood at the bridge's panoramic viewport, his reflection mingling with the infinite black. Ava Harper hovered nearby, fingers still trembling from the adrenaline of the battle. Even Corporal Dylan Cross, usually brash and irreverent, was silent, staring at the void with awe. The prototype warship had performed beyond expectation. It had destroyed fleets, shattered centuries of arrogance, and announced humanity's arrival to the galaxy. Sir, Harper's voice broke the silence, soft and uncertain. Do you think they'll strike back? The Council, the others? Mercer shook his head slowly, eyes fixed on the drifting wreckage. Not soon. They underestimated us for centuries, and that mistake cost them everything. They will regroup, perhaps, but they will approach cautiously now. Every fleet commander in the galaxy will remember what happened here. Harper swallowed, taking a deep breath. It's hard to believe. One ship, and they were destroyed. The Council fleets, gone. Mercer's expression was solemn. It wasn't just the ship. Prometheus is more than a weapon. It is the embodiment of our patience, our ingenuity, and our refusal to be dismissed. Humans made it lethal because humans made it smart. We outthink, outmaneuver, and outlast. The galaxy isn't used to that from Earth. Cross leaned against the console, cracking a small grin. So, we're legends now? Mercer's lips twitched in what almost resembled a smile. Legends, yes. But legends are only remembered if you remain vigilant. The galaxy will not respect complacency. Prometheus showed them our power, but Earth must continue to prove it. The bridge fell silent again, this time a contemplative silence, heavy with the gravity of what had been accomplished. Harper finally dared to ask the question they had all been thinking. Commander, why us? Why Earth? Why now? Jason Mercer's gaze never wavered from the stars. Because no one else would. Because the galaxy assumed we were weak. And because humans are patient, and dangerous when provoked. Prometheus isn't just a ship, it's the answer to every insult, every slight, every century of mockery. It is humanity's voice, and it has just spoken. Outside, Prometheus shimmered in the light of distant stars, an almost spectral figure. Its engines pulsed faintly, a rhythm like a heartbeat, silent but alive. Mercer could almost sense the intelligence within the ship, the AI he had personally overseen, calculating, anticipating, executing perfectly. It had been built to kill, but more importantly, it had been built to survive, to teach, to warn. Harper traced her fingers over the console, as if she could feel the power of the ship through it. "Do you think the galaxy will ever underestimate us again?" she asked, half to herself. "Not for centuries," Mercer said. "We've reset the balance. Entire species will now approach Earth with caution, respect, fear. That is the consequence of being underestimated. And it will echo across generations." The days that followed were quieter than anyone aboard the station could have anticipated. The crew worked methodically, repairing Prometheus and recalibrating its systems. They catalogued the debris of the destroyed fleet, studying alien technology with a mixture of curiosity and triumph. Every fragment told a story, a testament to the arrogance that had underestimated humanity. Mercer walked among the crew, observing them. Some laughed quietly at the thought of their victory, some remained silent, still processing the magnitude of what they had achieved. All were changed. All were aware that humanity had just announced its presence in the galaxy in a way no one could ignore. "Commander," Harper said one evening as they watched a distant sun rise over the curvature of Earth from orbit, "do you think this changes us? The rest of humanity?" Mercer considered her question carefully. "It should. Not just for pride, not just for triumph. Humanity has always been underestimated, dismissed, even threatened. We have proven that we are capable of survival, of ingenuity, and of unmatched resolve. Now, the responsibility is ours. We are no longer small. We are a force that the galaxy must respect, and remember that respect is earned every day." The message traveled fast. News channels and comms relays broadcast the outcome across allied planets and neutral systems. Even those who had once mocked Earth began to adjust their perspective. Formerly skeptical ambassadors and fleet commanders approached cautiously, seeking negotiation, seeking understanding, seeking to measure this new force they had overlooked. The legend of Prometheus became a symbol, a ghost story whispered across space, a warning of what humans were capable of when provoked. A new council of planetary representatives convened reluctantly, forced to acknowledge Earth's power. Some offered alliances, some offered tributes, all approached with caution. But none dared to dismiss humanity again. The balance had shifted, and it was irreversible. On the bridge, Jason Mercer finally allowed himself a moment of reflection. He looked at the crew, at Prometheus, and at the stars stretching endlessly before them. The battle had ended, but the war for recognition, for respect, was only beginning. Earth had claimed its voice, and the galaxy would listen. Harper spoke again, softly, almost reverently. "Sir, what do we do now?" Mercer turned to her, his expression firm yet calm. "We continue. We remain vigilant. We innovate. And we remind the galaxy that Earth cannot be mocked. Prometheus was the beginning, not the end. One ship changed everything, but humanity will change even more. We are the storm they never expected." Corporal Cross, standing nearby, smirked. "Sounds like a lot of work for a legend." Mercer's lips curved slightly. "Legends are earned, not given. And now, humanity has started earning theirs. Forever." Outside the bridge, the void was calm again, but this calm was not the same as before the battle. The galaxy itself had shifted, subtly but irrevocably. Species across the stars would remember the day the prototype warship obliterated every fleet that had once dismissed humanity. They would remember the light of its energy pulses, the silence of its ghostly movements, and the inevitability of its precision. Prometheus, the unassuming harbinger of humanity's wrath, drifted silently through the void, its systems humming faintly. And aboard the bridge, Jason Mercer and his crew knew the truth: the galaxy had changed forever. Not because humans sought conquest, but because humans had shown what happens when patience, intellect, and determination converge into something unstoppable. And somewhere, in the distant reaches of space, the echoes of a once proud council fleet served as a reminder that arrogance has a price and that humanity, underestimated for too long, had finally awakened. the stars stretched endlessly ahead, vast and unyielding. And humanity, at long last, had a place among them, a place no one would dare question again.